Welcome to this Advent devotional series. I am Reverend Lester Spees, and I have the privilege of serving as pastor at Memorial Lutheran Church in Glendale, Wisconsin. During this Advent season, I have been reflecting on some tough questions that come from Scripture and on some sacred spaces that have helped me to respond to those tough questions. Thank you for joining me in this journey. Today's devotion is for Monday, December 25th, 2023, Christmas Day. And the tough question comes from Exodus 17, verse 7. Is the Lord among us or not? The first 25 Christmas celebrations in my life were spent in my hometown, and that was fine with me. As noted on more than one occasion, I am not all that comfortable with change. So following a clear traditional routine, especially when it comes to something as important as holiday celebrations, is something that I am more than comfortable doing without complaining. However, the year that I got engaged brought an opportunity for a change to that pattern. I was invited to join Barb and her family in California for their annual traditions, and I willingly said yes. Although that was the first Christmas away from my hometown, it was certainly not the last. In the years since that first California Christmas adventure, I have been in a variety of locations when Christmas Day was celebrated. Most of those locations have been determined by the location of the parish that I served. So I have enjoyed Christmases in Texas, Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Wisconsin, and of course, California. I know that when some couples enter into a relationship with one another, it can be difficult to balance all of the holiday celebrations so that everyone feels good about balancing time with each other's family and friends. Some might spend a little time with each side on the day itself. Some might spend one day with one side of the family and the next day with the other side of the family. Sometimes it works out smoothly and comfortably. Sometimes it does not. It didn't take us long to realize that whatever the hopes and expectations might be regarding spending equal time with both sides of the family, that was not going to be possible for a pastor's family, where both sides of the family lived in different states, and the pastor had more than one professional responsibility during the Advent Christmas season. Not every church that I served had a Christmas Day service, although several have. But every church had at least one Christmas Eve service. And it's kind of hard to ask for a vacation day on one of the biggest nights in the church year. So that meant that for more than 3 decades now, Christmas has been spent at our home. People had to come to us if they wanted to celebrate Christmas with us. Sometimes they did, but most years it's just been us. And I kind of like that. The inability to be with our families at Christmas, to join with them in the annual traditions, brought with it the ability to create some traditions of our own. And we decided early on eagerly to embrace this ability to do our own thing. We borrowed some traditions from our childhood, including favorite menu items from each of our families. We hang stockings from the mantle for each member of the family. We make holiday cookies. We make worship a part of the celebration. These and others were things that were part of one or both family traditions that we incorporated into our own. But we also made new traditions that we started that were shared by neither side of the family. For example, we decided to make the Advent season more meaningful by spending time each evening gathered around the Advent wreath, lighting the appropriate number of candles for the week, reading some scripture, listening to a poem or devotion, singing a verse or two of a favorite Advent hymn, and closing the time with a prayer. As the kids got older and as we got busier, the Advent wreath tradition started to change to an Advent calendar, with each person getting a little gift each day to mark the time as we got closer to the celebration of Christmas. Even our own traditions have evolved to meet the circumstances that we were living in at the time. That first Christmas away from home was hard, and not because of the company that I was keeping. The Wimpy family made me feel part of the family immediately. And that first Christmas away from home remains one of my favorite Christmases ever, because it was the first Christmas I got to spend with Barb. It was hard because it was different, and I knew that it was going to be different for the rest of my life. That's what made it hard. However, the change also brought new opportunities to do things that fit our priorities and our passions. We have taken full advantage of those opportunities, and as a result, Christmas remains a favorite time, a much anticipated time, and a time that is truly special for our family. The family continues to grow and change. We can't all be together each December 25th anymore in the same house at the same time. And that's probably our fault for modeling for our kids that it is okay to do your own thing and start your own traditions. What were we thinking? But what hasn't changed is the appreciation for one another and the love and gratitude that we know because of the gift of one another in our lives. That hasn't changed, regardless of where we have found ourselves over the years. The other thing that hasn't changed is the constant reminder that wherever the location we have found ourselves on Christmas Day, Christ has been there as well. That variable has not changed. That constant has remained. And the joys and promises that we have received because of the gift of the Christ child continue to be revealed to us regardless of where we find ourselves. The places where we have celebrated Christmas have changed. The numbers of people gathered in our home in any particular year have changed. The kinds of traditions that we carry out or don't carry out from year to year have changed. What hasn't changed is the knowledge that Christ has been among us each and every year. And that has made every Christmas location special. It still does. And something tells me it always will, regardless of where the journey takes me next.